Well, hello from a windy UK. We've had quite a week with weather warnings between rain and wind weather warnings, but despite all of those, it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be, so we can be very grateful for that. So I've reached the completion of my vintage sewing journal, and I'd just like to do a little flip through with you just to give you some idea of how it all turned out. For those of you that haven't followed me on this journey, I'll link the other videos below where I show you the process of making things. So I'll start with the cover. I didn't want the cover to scream sewing to begin with, and my gran had a soft passion for dandelions, so that's why I've put that on front. And this journal is largely a tribute to my maternal grandmother, who was a huge, wonderful influence in my life, and just a real rock and an anchor. So the cover here is, okay, let's start. This is a handmade book, so this wasn't a book that I tore up. I've made it from scratch. This is a piece of pink paper that I've just used a sponging technique and layered different colors of paint on. And on the inside cover, I've got some grey marble paper and some painted paper that I've just dragged. And then I've used some gesso just through a stencil to create that. You could also use texture paste. So the first part of the first signature has a piece of fabric here which used to belong to my gran's knitting bag, and she always had it at her side. She was always busy making something, because in those days buying jerseys and cardigans wasn't that easy. We didn't import a lot of stuff from overseas as we do now, and there just wasn't much of it. She also had an affinity for swallows. She really did love birds, but particularly swallows. I don't know what the meaning was in her life, but she always talked about them. And she made her own clothes, and she was always very, very smartly dressed, so that's why I've got the dressmaker's dummy coming through here. Some of these pages you'll see have layers of different papers. So this was coffee dyed paper with a little bit of brown sewing paper, you know, like you get from the instructions of a sewing pattern. That was some of that was there. We've got some washi tape. I have a sample of gold Indian paper here, and this is some mull cloth, which is used for bookbinding, but you could use cheesecloth or something like that, that I dyed with blueberries, and I've got this lovely, lovely color here. And then I've made a little pocket just to put in a little card here. These little flaps, I did a video on how to do this technique where you have actually put paint down, and then you put a dry stamp into it to stamp off the color. So I've got a very faint heart impression there. And then I didn't layer these up side by side for two reasons. One, I didn't want the book to be particularly thick all in the middle, and the second reason is I just like the surprise of having different things in different pages. So we've got some coffee dyed paper, some washi tape, some images. I've done some stamping here, but there's plenty of space to actually put your journal notes in as we go along. This was some masking tape that I used and have just done some stamping on there. And then when we come to this page, I've used largely as a background a piece of pattern paper. Gosh, you know, I sometimes cry for things I left behind in South Africa, but I had loads of vintage patterns, and when I was needing one while I was in the UK, I just thought, where am I going to find one? Anyway, I did. And then I've got a whole lot of little cards in here and tags which we could use for journaling. Quite a lot of these other images I've got from Daphne's diary. You'll be able to look at some of the videos that I've done on flip-throughs and how you can actually make use of those for your images. They often repeat themes, so if you are working on a particular theme, it is rather nice. Here's a little vintage motif that was done with lace making, and I've got this lovely textured stamp that just looks like a piece of frayed fabric. And I've stamped that sometimes throughout the journal just to break up a surface. I felt it looked a bit modern. I haven't inked around all the things in my book because I didn't want this to be particularly grungy, but I did want it to reflect things that my gran liked, and in an authentic way. So she did love her perfumes. This is a genuine pre-stud packet from her day. I've made this little sort of window. It's not quite a slide, but a window. I just cut out the center with my craft knife and then put some vellum in there. And this here is a series of layered pieces of fabric that have been dyed with washi tape and things, just to give a bit of texture. I love the look of frayed fabric, it's just as gorgeous. Right, so again here I've used images from Daphne's diary, and I've just followed the outline of the scissor to create this little tuck spot. I've got some lovely text stamps which I've used, and I've done quite a few workshops and videos on making up butterflies for ephemera. Here we've got another little booklet. Let me just put this down so I can show you. So this is a little needle threader. Probably for those of you that do a lot of sewing, you'll remember them. They break so easily, but they are useful to have. And I've just taken a little booklet here. I've not done much stamping in, but I've just done a wash of sort of metallic watercolor cut through there just to give it a little bit of interest. And this was a set of journaling cards that I made where I splattered coffee on just to be able to have some thing just to break up the surface. So those will slide in there. Now when we start to look at some of these different things here, you'll see that I've started to include beads. I've taken this image and threaded on a bit of bead just to make that bottle look as though it's got a 3D image. And some of my inspiration has been from genuine items that my gran had. So she had this lovely little box, Panther Mignon. It was from a cigar, I suppose it was a cigar box, but in it we still have these lovely old-fashioned bodkins. And if you don't know what a bodkin is, it was used to thread a cord or elastic through a gusset so that you could pull it through on the other side. And look here, I've even got two metal ones. She had a very thin piece here of little twill tape and some chalk that she used to mark out her patterns, and I can still remember her doing that. She'd lay them out on the dining room table and start to mark out her patterns. A couple of old buttons, these ones have been battered a little bit, but nevertheless really nice. And here's a little one that was made from a shell, so that's really cool. So a lovely little box first there. I'll show you some more of her stuff as we go through. So a couple of the pages don't have as many embellishments on them, simply because if I wanted to do quite a bit of journaling, or I wanted to put a photograph on, I would be able to use that space and have the freedom to do that. I've glued down some buttons, but you could also stitch them onto your pages if you wanted to, but just you'd have to be aware that you'd see some stitching on the other side. This particular piece was a scrapbooking page. I wasn't overly keen on it, so I took some colouring pens. I've coloured some of those, and I took a tea bag which I'd had sort of like a berry tea in it, and I cut that out just to create a little bit of texture there. I've got this little cut out from frames that popped out of a scrapbooking page here that I've inked up, and then I've secured with washi tape just to have that as a little tuck spot. I've got a nice little place for a journal notebook, and this was a lovely paper tape measure that I picked up at IKEA and just dyed with some coffee paper. I was really excited to find that, because you know, sometimes you don't have too many tape measures and you don't always want to cut them up, but that was really easy to do. And I got these lovely dripping marks because at the time I thought, well, I don't feel like getting the drying rack out and putting paper underneath to catch all the drips, so I just hung it over the tap and I got these lovely markings. So I was very happy with that. This particular page was just an envelope where I've done some paint work on it, and I've put in a stamped image here of a cat, because my gran always had a cat and I love cats as well. So that's just a little memory from her. As I say, the dressmaker dummy is a repeat. We had a zoo in Cape Town when I lived there. It disappeared many years ago, but it was on the foothills of Devil's Peak, which is a mountain that's right next door to Table Mountain, which is an incredibly flat mountain, and they always had these beautiful peacocks there, and my gran used to take me up there, so that is a memory for me with her. Excuse me. We used to get these sort of inexpensive little books of needles that we got as kids at school to be able to use. This was a piece of printed vellum that I just stuck some tape on and stuck it down. Vellum is always a little bit tricky to stick down, isn't it? So you have to use your creative thinking to do that. And this is just a piece of coffee dyed paper. Got a little pocket here with a little tag. This just came with I think it was a bottle of wine that somebody had given me this tag for, so I just put one of these stitching embellishments from a piece of scrapbooking paper in there, but lots of space for journaling, which is really nice. I like to have good journal spots. A couple of tags, but this is quite a substantial pocket, so you'd be able to put quite a lot in there. And then this has got also a really nice big pocket here, and this is the other side of that scrapbooking page that I wasn't keen on. I'd stamped some lace motifs down here and just kind of tried to break it up a little bit, splattered a little bit of this pearly white paint on. And then I've got my butterflies, which were also something. My gran was a keen gardener, and the butterflies were just always in her garden. Oopsie, I've dropped a pin in here. Let's get that. Also found in my gran's collection just funny little things. You know, these would have been things to hold up stockings or socks in those days, suspenders. So they would have been like that. They would have clipped onto the top of the stocking to pull it up to secure it. So I just found those in amongst her stuff. And then I also had this amazing jar, matured Virginia tobacco. Weird that we've got the tobacco things, because she didn't smoke. These were buckles that she would have used maybe for her dressmaking. This is a little thimble guard, and for those of you that don't sew with them, I can't really sew a lot of the time without it, so that's just to prevent your finger from being stabbed while you do it. This is a button cover. This is quite an interesting thing. You may or may not know them. They were quite popular at one stage. I think it was in the 80s. So you would be able to take a button. I haven't got a really large one here because I wasn't expecting to find this. But you could take a button and stick it on here. And then if you just had on your shirt a plain little button like that, this would slide under the button. And you'd pop it on and you could have something a little bit more ornate. So that was rather fun. This must have been a bulb from her Singer sewing machine, bit of a razor just to be able to rub things out, a little pencil that she used. These were things that they used for sort of cufflinks, and the chefs have them pretty similar to that these days. So just some nice little memories in that little box for me. Right, so then as we move through this, I've used pattern paper here quite a bit, and on this page. So these are two separate signatures, and I've been able to tie them together with the pattern pieces. Again, I'm using my frayed cloth and also my dyed cloth, and I've incorporated some buttons because I'm trying to link up the colors just so that your eye actually doesn't lose itself. A few little images that I picked up from Daphne's diary and some wording which I've included in here. So this larger piece underneath, it's got printed text. That was a piece of masking tape that I'd stamped up into. That underneath piece was a piece of scrapbooking paper. This was a pop-out from some printed scrapbooking paper, a bit of a diary page, and some more scrapbooking paper. So it's all about layers, it's all about linking colors, and just creating a lot of interest for the eyes. Here again I've used coffee dyed paper. This was one of my tea bags that had was it raspberries in it? I can't remember, but it was a berry one, and a little crochet motif which I've also dyed. That was a little stamp that I made up, and again on a piece of textured stamped background. So I'm just going to go through some of the other things fairly quickly because some of the explanations as to what I've used I've gone through. Images from Daphne's diary. If you just use your stamps and things just to break them up, you'll find that you'll blend them into whatever you're making fairly easily. Okay, and then we get again to pattern papers, and you can see from here to there your eye is marrying it. It's saying, okay, this is part of the same thing. My lovely tape measure that I found, and it had centimeters and inches, but I did use the inch side because my gran would not have known centimeters. That started when I was a very young girl at school. In this pocket here I have an original sampler, and this would have been something that my gran would probably have learned to use at school, or maybe when she was a bit older because it's a bit more detailed. But you would learn embroidery on it, so you would have had to do a little series of running stitches here and then follow the blue ink to print it, to cover it. This has got beautiful fine cotton. I remember things that being similar to this as a child, but not such beautiful cotton. And here they would have taught you a whole lot of different stitches because you would have done circles. Where it's got a double line like that, you'd have had to do shading. You'd have done some flowers, you'd have done some lettering, so you'd have learned quite a lot. But it is vintage. You know, every now and again I look at it and I think to myself, oh, possibly I might finish that one day, but I think I like the charm of it just as it is. Alright, this is the last signature that I've done, and I've got in here some original hooks and eyes. I don't you remember this brand, it was Newey, N-E-W-E-Y, and that's tied in rather nicely with the colours there. Got a little flip tag, and then I've got some more journal spots here in the butterflies. Lots of space for journals, journaling or photographs. This I've just felt the dressmaker's dummy needs a bit of zhuzh, it needs to be a bit more glam, so I had a few threads just lying around on my desk, and I just tied them together to make a little bow and glued that down, and that's worked pretty well. I've got a little card that I could write on here, some more buttons, and then the pattern piece at the back, and then my book. So each book I have actually taken, oh, not book, sorry, signature. My brain's ahead of my speech. So each signature I've used some wax thread, which is this Irish linen thread. That was my grand's. It was, I wouldn't even know how to say that, 18/7, that must be the thickness. And I've actually gone from the center of the book down, right through to the spine, come through the other side, come through this way, and just tied it. And because the thread is waxed, it's not going to shift. So I've actually got all 5 signatures stitched in on the spine, and they are ready to go. So they're just the last 2 little things I'd like to show you before we sign off that are really, really vintage and quite dear to my heart. One is this lovely little leather needle case. It's got the needles word embossed in there with a few little marks, and it's got some very, very fine linen in here that you would have. Black paper was always good for needles, it prevented them rusting. So that's one little treasure. And then I have this, which is a needle case of a different kind. It's a crochet hat, which you'll see in a video that I'm doing on dressing a paper mache doll, because my little granddaughter, with a very good eye for things, told me that this would be perfect for Rosie's hat. So watch out for this, it's coming up in another video. And then the last thing I'd like to just share with you is just such happy memories of these beautiful, beautifully made wooden cotton reels. Really just stunning. I'm really happy to have a couple of these in my possession. I had wooden cotton reels up until probably mid-90s, and then everything went plastic, so it's been really nice. But some of you might remember how we used to actually have 4 nails hammered in there, and we could do French knitting down through the middle of these cotton reels if the center was wide enough. So it was really a lot of things that have happened. And today I had the joy of having my granddaughter come over, and she did exactly what I did as a child. She got into my button box and she wanted to look at them all, and that was one of my favorite memories of my grand too. So for those of you who've watched the videos as I've been progressing through this journal, thank you for joining me. And for those of you that are just watching the flip through, I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you are interested, I'll link all the other videos that I've done in this series together. Bye for now.